What's up, guys? I'm Kenny.
I'm Ryan.
We're from Catalyst, and today we're going to give you a quick breakdown on epoxy versus poly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a question we get asked a lot with customers comparing boards. Is should I go epoxy or should I go poly? And something I want to touch on first, because I feel like my rule with selling boards is when I get the question, well, if I get the epoxy, isn't it a lot stronger? And here's the thing, is yes and no. So I don't sell boards on the premise, like I'm not going to sell you a Lightspeed 2 and tell you that it's going to last 5 times longer than this poly will. It's just not the case. You don't buy them because you think they're going to last forever or they're bulletproof. You buy them because of the way they ride.
Well, that's the thing about surfboards. There's a purpose for each of these boards, right? Yes, durability and best bang for your buck, that definitely comes into like the decision of the surfboard when you're purchasing it, right? But the thing is, if you want the board to react well, if you want it to ride well, you look at the construction, and that plays a big role in that, right? So really, the guys that like an epoxy board are the guys that want the extra float. They want that stiff feeling, right? Just because this is going to, epoxy is a denser film. So the same reason that it's a little bit more durable, the foam is denser inside, so it doesn't compact as easily, right? That's the same reason it floats more. It sits on top of the water differently, right? So really, in smaller surf, right, when you want that pop, you want to glide right into the waves, you want it to feel nice and light and springy. That's when an epoxy works well. When a PU comes into play, it's a little bit more weight. It's 2 pieces of foam glued together on a wooden stringer. It's a little stiffer overall, but it just carries a lot more weight, which is what you want when the wind's really strong, when it's offshore, when it's choppy, because it cuts through the water differently. You can sink that rail more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me personally, and the way I kind of sell boards is like, you spend a lot of time in bigger surf or a place with onshore winds being prevalent. I typically will choose a poly, like you said, a little extra weight. It helps keep the, your trajectory going on waves. It handles a little bump better, just not as much chatter. So what Kenny touched on is basically if you're surfing clean waves, that 3 to 4 foot stuff, man, if you're a heavier guy and need a little extra pop out of your boards, these epoxies, stringless epoxies, do a phenomenal job of that.
Or if you're the guy that doesn't surf all the time, right? You're not going on trips. You just want, like, you're like, I want a board that's going to last for a long time. It's going to work in a good variety of conditions. Great, epoxy is good for you. It's a little bit more expensive off the jump, but it's going to last a long time, right? The days that you're going to surf a poly on aren't as frequent as the days you're going to surf an epoxy, right? So it's a little bit cheaper. It's easier to damage, but you're not going to surf it as much. So it honestly kind of evens out in the grand scheme of things, right? So it really comes down to what surfer are you, what kind of board are you looking for, and what's the purpose for that board.
Sure.
So
yeah, so just keep in mind, if you're riding better waves for the most part, maybe bigger conditions, a little bumpy, I think maybe a poly for most of you guys. But I think a lot of people like the epoxies for that extra pop, the super lightweight, the extra float. It's kind of hard to beat in a lot of cases. So.
Yep.
Well, if you got any questions, reach out, info@catalystshop.com, and we'd love to answer them for you. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.